When Frank Giustra and Brian Paes-Braga decided to open up Fiore Exploration last year, it had the industry talking. You had Giustra, who is a household name in mining finance, and you also had Paes-Braga, who was the founder of Lithium X Energy. Naturally, everyone was paying attention. Now, pedigree isn't all that Fiore has. Hi, I'm Galen Engen on behalf of Equity.Guru, speaking with the company's CEO and director, Tim Warman, to find out just exactly what the perspective is for the company, for investors in the next 10 years. Thanks for speaking with me today, Tim.
Thank you.
Now, Tim, you've had 25 years in the industry. You are a veteran. You've been doing everything from grassroots exploration right up to development. In fact, you were a key player in the negotiation of the acquisition of Aurelian Resources by Kinross Gold. It came to $1.2 billion. That was a pretty big deal. Can you tell me just how important Fiore Exploration is and what its mandate is to you?
Yeah, absolutely. So Fiore we think it's a really exciting project, and it's really taking advantage of a kind of once-in-a-decade opportunity when exploration spending is low, both by the majors and by the juniors, to go in and use our deep knowledge of Latin America to grab unexplored and underexplored and particularly undervalued assets, particularly in the gold and silver space. We think there's a real opportunity there, and right now there's very little competition for a well-funded, acquisitive company like ourselves.
Now, speaking of which, you guys have two properties now in your portfolio. It's a Pampas El Peñón and also the Cerro Tostado, both of which are in Chile. Yep. Can you let us know just exactly what it was about Pampas that drew you to it in the first place?
I mean, the key thing that drew us there was the presence of Yamana's El Peñón mine. Yamana is producing something like 18% of their total production there, about 227,000 ounces of gold, about 7.7 million ounces of silver from that one mine. So it's a major flagship mine for Yamana. And the fact that ground was coming available right immediately adjacent to those mines was an incredibly exciting opportunity, and it's not something that happens very often. And so we obviously jumped at it.
Now, you guys had just finished a drill program at Pampas, and there was some results that came out. Can you describe what those results were and the importance they were to the development of the project itself?
Sure. So we finished our phase 1 drill program, 19 holes, about 8,000 meters, and we identified a number of structures that have anomalous gold and silver, anomalous pathfinder elements, including arsenic and antimony, and those are something we're going to follow up with our phase 2 program later this year. Obviously we'd been hoping to hit some really hot intersections, but one thing to remember is that it took 3 drill campaigns at the neighboring Pampas Augusta Victoria mine before they found mineralization, so we're still quite encouraged there.
Absolutely. You got to keep hitting it. Now, also in Chile, also in the El Peñón region, is the Cerro Tostado property. Now, why did you guys pick that one up?
Cerro Tostado is another mine, or another project rather, that's immediately adjacent to the El Peñón mine. It's down at the south end of the mine. It's a project that we picked up just before Christmas from Soquimich, the big Chilean fertilizer and chemical company. And the thing that really excited us about that was, A, it's very, very close to the El Peñón mill. And secondly, Soquimich had intercepted some really good holes there back in 2010, 2011, but they're a fertilizer and chemical company, and they hadn't really followed it up. So we thought, again, great opportunity, some interesting hits, property right next door to a producing mine.
Now, can you describe to us what those results were and what they meant to you as a geologist?
Sure. So there were 3 holes that intercepted, and they were basically between 2 and 3 meter intercepts, ranging between 300 and about 800 grams per ton of silver. Now, interestingly, El Peñón is a big silver producer, so the fact that we're seeing some very high silver grades right adjacent to their producing mine is not that surprising. And when you see intercepts like that, when you see them open and, basically a long strike, down dip, and very little follow-up drilling, or really no follow-up drilling that's ever been done on those holes, it's really encouraging.
Now, you've just started a drill program yourself there as well, correct?
We'll actually be starting it in the next couple of months. What we're doing right now is going back in. We literally just signed the final agreement on it this week, so we're hitting the ground running. We've gone back in and looked at all of the old drill materials that Soquimich drilled. We're resampling and reassaying them, relogging them. We're going to get guys out there on the field, and the idea is within the next couple of months to have drills turning on there. And then before mid-year, we'll have another drill program up at Pampas El Peñón as well.
So further to that, what can investors expect then in a bullet point form in 2017? What do you think?
Yeah, so obviously we're going to be continuing our exploration and our drilling on Cerro Tostado. on Pampas El Peñón. We'll have 2 different drill programs reporting before mid-year. And the other thing is we're still very acquisitive, and not only for early sort of grassroots exploration stage projects like Cerro Tostado and Pampas El Peñón, but we're also looking at more transformative acquisitions, something with some significant resources in the ground, or something with a smaller resource where we can really see the opportunity to grow it because of a lack of exploration or a lack of funds on the part of the current owner. And we've got a couple of interesting things we're chasing after right now, and hopefully we'll have some news to report again by mid-year.
Fantastic. Now, you guys, in September of last year, closed an $11 million private placement. That was a tremendous private placement to be closing. How much is left, and how far was that going to take you?
Yeah, so I think the last reported cash position we had was about $13.5 million. We haven't burned through a lot of that since then. We're drilling very efficiently, and the company is very lean. So we're pretty well cashed up. It's not much below $13.5 million right now.
Now, I'm going to ask a question that I'm sure a lot of people are thinking. You've got Frank Giustra on the, right behind you guys. What happens if you tackle a property that might outstrip those funds? Is there an idea that Frank is going to back you all the way?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Frank put his family name on the company. Fiore is his mother's name, and I think that that speaks to Frank's commitment to the project and to the company. And I think it really gives us the opportunity to go after some projects that maybe a junior of our size wouldn't be able to.
Now, besides Frank, you guys have an amazingly powerful advisory board. Can you describe to us some of the members that the investors should be aware of?
Sure. So, we have our board of directors, Harry Pockrent, Robert Peruz, Geir Leyland, and Peter Tallman, all very experienced guys in the mining industry. And then on the advisory board in particular, we have Paul Matizik. And Paul, obviously a very well-known name in the mining industry. They successfully sold Gold Rock just recently. And Paul just not only brings himself, but also his team that he built there at Gold Rock. And they're available to us as and when we need them. Again, very, very cost-effective access to some very smart people.
Fantastic. Now, what are the greatest challenges facing Fiore right now and juniors in the space?
I think, the one challenge we're not facing right now that a lot of other juniors are facing is access to funds. I think we've got that covered quite well. Really, I suppose there's a lot of people chasing a dwindling number of projects, and that's a challenge for everybody. I think our advantage in that lies in our deep experience in Latin America. We've got a great team who's lived and worked down there for 20 plus years, each of us. And I think we know the projects that are down there, we know the players, we know how to do business, and it's been quite successful so far.
For investors who might be considering Fiore Exploration, if there's anything that you could say to them right now, what would you say?
I think it's going to be a fun 6 months and a fun coming year. We've got drill results coming out from 2 different programs, some new projects to add, and hopefully some big announcements.
Where do you see Fiore Exploration in the next 5 years?
In the next 5 years, I'd like to see us with a major project, approaching development.
Fantastic. Fiore Exploration's got it in spades. You've got expert management. You've got all sorts of money coming in for taking care of all your projects. You've got a really good advisory board. What an incredible story. I'm sure the markets are going to be paying attention rather closely. Thanks for talking to me today, Tim.
Thank you.